Welcome everyone to the Spotlight feature on doing digital ethnography with MAXQDA. My name is Cate. I'm an instructor of sociology at the University of Chicago. I've been teaching digital ethnography since the pandemic hit, so a lot of what you're going to see here today draws inspiration from the great and creative work that my students have been doing. So I have to thank them, even though they might be here. I don't know. We only have 20 very short minutes, and I have a lot of great features to show you. So let me jump just straight into it. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, write them in the chat. It would really be helpful if you could write question in all caps before your question, because then it's going to make it super easy for me at the end during the Q&A to go and find them. All right, let's begin, shall we? So one of the richest ethnographic sites that my students have been using and exploring is YouTube, and it's very easy to figure out why. So for projects that involve the study of culture, the study of meaning making, as ethnographists do, YouTube is great because it has a lot to offer. So the videos themselves are fantastic sites. They're rich in content. The transcripts of the videos are great, especially when the authors of the video themselves make them available. And then, of course, we have the comment section where a lot of the community building actually takes place. So since 2018, MAXQDA has been streamlining the process to acquire all this rich data. And it's been streamlining it to the point that I only need one screenshot to show you how to do that. So here it is. This is the screenshot that you will get. This is the pop-up window that you will see once you go on import, and then intuitively enough, you select YouTube data. So that's what you're going to see, and let's go through it together. So here is where you would copy from the internet and then paste the video that you want to analyze. So that would be just straight out the YouTube URL. And as you can see, when you paste the link into that spot, the MAXQDA retrieves some great video information for you. So right here, you can see that the video information includes the number of comments. And it also tells you whether there is a transcript or closed caption present. So that is very, very helpful. So other than that, when you import the comments, you have a few options. You can decide to ask MAXQDA to auto-code the comments, which I highly recommend that you do, because when you do that, if you select this option, the program will automatically generate codes that indicate how many replies, indicates the comments and how many replies each comment generated. And as you can see, you can also have this one that I left unchecked. This is if you want to decide to import only top-level comments. So a top-level comment is a comment that is not a reply. So those are just like the first ones. I left it unchecked because I wanted to see comment chains. So if you want to see the replies, you don't have to do that. And if you leave it unchecked, the program will create two separate subcodes, one for the top-level comments, and they will be codes that are named top-level comment with X comment, with X replies, and then a second subcode that is called replies to comments. So they're separated in your code system, and don't worry, I will show that on my screen in a second. So in addition to the comments, as you can see, you can also import the transcript of closed caption when it's available. And we knew that it was available because the program told me that it was available right here. Again, highly recommend that you include the times in the transcript when you import it, because that way everything is linked together. And if you're analyzing the comments, if you spent any time on YouTube, you know that a lot of the times users refer to specific moments in the video when they make their comments. So like, oh yeah, I felt great at 00.25, and you don't know what 00.25 is, but now you can know if you have the transcript. So that's great. And then the last thing that you can do, you can link the video file to the transcript. So this requires you to have the actual YouTube video downloaded and saved as a video file. You see, that's an MP4 file on your machine. I know that this is not always possible because YouTube has weird restrictions based on copyright, and sometimes it can be complicated to do that. So I am aware that this is showing an optimal situation right here. However, do know that other MAXQDA users have been thinking about this, of like, how do I do that if I don't have the video or if I don't have the transcript? And they have answers for you. So I don't actually need to tell you that. I don't want to spend too much time here. I'm just going to redirect you to this wonderful contribution to the MAXQDA blog by Matthew Loxton. All the slides will be available after, so you can click on it. What this blog post does, it addresses ways to overcome this media hurdles, such as how do I get access to the video file, and transcript hurdles. And that includes if the transcript is not there, there are ways that you can import the AI-generated transcript when the user-generated transcripts are not available. So I'll leave you with that afterwards. But now let's go back to our YouTube data, because we have this window, and when we click OK, what happens? Well, a bunch of very wonderful things happen to be true. So first of all, MAXQDA creates a new folder in your project. And this folder has an attached memo, and the memo inside includes the video title, the author of the video, the URL, the posting date, the description, the numerical data, including the number of views or likes and dislikes. And then, of course, you get the comments out of it. And the comments are saved very practically in separate documents, depending on the number. Because the max number of rows that you're going to have in each document is 1,000. And in the next screen, I'll show you exactly how that looks like. In the table columns, you're going to have a lot of relevant data for your project. So including the author's username, and seeing like the author of every comment, the URL, the posting date, and the number of likes and replies that they received. And then if you have a transcript, you will also have that saved in a separate document, timestamped, and automatically linked to the video if you have that. And as we saw before, each comment is automatically coded by the number of replies. So I'm throwing a lot of stuff at you. And if you're like me and you're a very visual person, you kind of want to see how that looks like. So I'm going to show you how that looks like. I hope this is big enough. I'm going to try and read through things in case you can't see it because the font is small. So first of all, I left it on import because that's what you're going to do. Like the import tab, this is where you would click to get the first window that I showed, the YouTube data. And then here I've just selected one video, which is this one. It's called the Sycamore Tree. You can see when I downloaded it. So I downloaded it on the 28th of February at 10:55. So this is all automatically done by the program. And you can see that the comments were over 1,000. So I have two separate tables that have been created right here. And you can see the first is 1 to 1,000 has 1,000 codes already automatically applied because every single comment has a code. And then the third file is the video file and the transcript that they're linked together. And when I took that screenshot, I hadn't started coding yet, so it had 0 code for now. Now, here you will see that I have only 3 windows because for the screenshot, I did not need the retrieve segment windows. So this is just a document browser. And right now, it shows the first 1,000 comments. As you can see, they are coded by reply. And they're also numbered. And I want you to pay attention to the numbers because they are very helpful when you do the analysis. Because you can see it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you have 5, 1. And that's because this one, as we can see, is a reply to the comment rather than a new comment. And we know that it's going to be just 1 because this one is coded just 1 reply. Comment number 10 had 5. So if I could scroll down here, you would see 10, 1, 10, 2, 10, 3, 10, 4, 10, 5, which is great if you're keeping track of everything that's going on in the comments chain. And of course, here are the automatic coded. I did nothing. This is just after I hit OK. And that's the top level comments with, and then you get to select which ones. As you can see, most have 0 replies, but there's a fair number of comments with 1 reply. And there is apparently a very, very popular comment that got 33 replies. So that's interesting already. Even before you start the analysis, you can see all that. So let's say that we have all this. What do we do with it? Because that's one thing that my students often ask me, like, what do I do with all this stuff once I have it? Because that's great, but what do I do? And to be fair, I mean, the sky's the limit here. You can choose whatever kind of analysis you want to do. I will give you a couple of quick examples before I move on to another feature that's unique to MAXQDA. So to analyze the comments, you can run thematic analysis. You can use the program to run a word frequency. And because of the way that the comments are automatically coded, you can focus on comment chains and top-level comments and replies and see which ones generated the most engagement. You can also order and activate comments based on the likes and replies, which again, it's great if you're doing anything that has to do with studying the community and how they interact with each other. Now, on the video and transcript front, you can also perform a lot of analysis here. You have the option to code either the text directly, the transcript, or like I was doing in this screenshot, you can code directly on the video file. So here I was coding on the audio track. And things that you can do, you can have seen my students do. They've done fantastic projects analyzing the thematic overlap between the video content and the conversations that were happening in the comment section. Or if you have the video, it's great because you can use it to analyze the visual aspects and their connection to the content. So now that we are exactly at the halfway point of this lecture, let me switch gears a little bit because I want to tell you something that is unique to MAXQDA 2020 that I am particularly excited about as a digital ethnographer. And I want to talk about memos and field notes, and more specifically about memos as field notes. Because if you've ever done any type of ethnography, you know that taking field notes is the key part of being in the field, right? You need to figure that out. You need to know how to take effective notes. And now that our fields are moving online, it's important to have a system for field notes that is as flexible, as versatile, and as fluid as the fields that we are looking at and we are immersed in. And things move very fast on the internet, and they move in a billion different directions. So how do we keep track? And the answer to me is memos. What are memos in MAXQDA? Very simply, they are basically Post-it notes, and they can be attached to text, they can be attached to documents, to document groups, to videos, and to codes, or they can even just exist freely as free memos. They are the perfect tool for ethnographic field notes because they allow researchers to observe and annotate the events in the field, and quite literally, you can stick your thoughts to any part of your field as you go along it and as you read things. It's also like fantastic pedagogically. If you are teaching students, it really encourages them to practice their note taking to help them visualize their thought processes as they move from observation to theory building. So I highly recommend that. And as such, they are particularly great for a grounded theory approach, but don't be fooled because it can be used for multiple other methodological approaches as well. Now for the truly exciting part, MAXQDA 2020 comes with a whole redesign, a new memo manager that's fully upgraded, and it's a great space to organize, edit, and analyze your field notes. Now, keep in mind that I said that ethnographers crave the system that is multifaceted and as complex as the online communities that we're observing, right? So there we have it. So if you ask me what kind of memos you could possibly take, you could possibly create, anything that you can think of can be turned into a memo. So you can write code memos that are attached to single codes. You can write in-document memos. Those are memos that are attached to parts of the document. So they can be a word, they can be a single sentence, they can be a paragraph, they can be multiple paragraphs, and they're within the document. You can do in-media memos on video and audio file on portions of it. You can do whole document memos, and those are memos that are attached to the whole document. And then you can go even further and go document groups and document sets, code sets. And as I mentioned, you can also have a free memo. So let me show you what a memo looks like. This is the anatomy of a memo. So that's what the memo interface would look like. The moment you create one, this window will pop up. You can see that this was a free memo because the type of the memo is indicated right here at the top. The name of the memo automatically is free memo number 1, but if you click on it, you can change it at any time. And you can customize everything. Like you can customize the look of the Post-it note up here. So right now you can see it's just a simple Post-it, but you can choose whatever you want. Some of those are great for questions, for like moments of eureka, for theory, what's the hell? Something else, methods and research question. And then, of course, you can customize every single thing. If you're a visual person like me, and I'm used to just using pens that are colored, you can change the color, you can change the font, you can change the organization of everything. Another cool thing is that you can connect memo content to other parts of the document. All you have to do is highlight a sentence, right-click, and then this will pop up, and you choose Insert Internal Link. And then you do exactly the same to the part of the document that you want to link. And that way you have a 1-1 correlation, and that's fantastic because then you have things linked together and you click on a memo and it opens up the document, that segment that you wanted. You will see here that you can also link codes to memos and link coded segments. And it's as simple as just dragging and dropping things in here. Okay, so Now that we've seen that, let's go into depth a little bit into a couple of the memo types that I mentioned earlier. So what I want to explore are the in-document memos and the media memos, because those are the two types of memos that you will probably use the most if you're doing any type of YouTube analysis. So in-document memos, these are the type of memos that I probably use the most because those are the ones that are attached to the segments of the text, and I use them just as I go through the documents and I just open up and take notes. It's very straightforward to add one. You just select a passage, then you right-click, and you say insert memo for selection. And then there you have it. You have the interface that I showed you before. As I said, the name of the memo the title is immediately assigned automatically as memo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but you can change that whenever you want. A new thing that you will see that is very, very helpful is normally you write the memo, and then immediately once you hit the OK, once you close the memo, you will see that there's a little post-it attached to the text right here. And you can either double click on it and it opens back the window where you were writing the memo in the first place. Or right now in MAXQDA 2020, you have this sidebar that you can toggle on and off. Right now it's on, and as you can see, as I'm scrolling through the document, I can also see the memo that I've attached to this particular part of the document. So that's great for when you're reviewing things and you just want to see things, to see what you were thinking as you were going through the document. Now, in-media memos are very similar. To create one, rather than right-clicking, you can click on this, on the new memo icon. It's a little post-it with a plus. And then, as you can see, it attaches itself to the file in the spot where you are listening at. So right now I was at 54 seconds, and the memo was attached right here. What is particularly helpful in memos that are in-media memos is that after you've added a few, you can navigate the video going memo by memo, which is very helpful if you're taking notes as you go, because you can see how things have changed. So in this example that I had, I was like, oh, this is a moment when the visuals are changing, the picture is changing. So I can navigate that and then track all the changes that I've noticed in the video as I went along with it. So in the last 3 minutes that we have, say that we do add all these memos. What do we do with them after we have all of that? Because yes, flexibility and complexity, fantastic. I love it. But it only makes sense if then we have a way to actually make sense of all this complexity. Otherwise, we just have a mess of post-its, right? And this is where the new memo manager comes into play, because this is the ultimate organizational tool for digital ethnographers. You can access the memo manager from the memo tab, as you would probably expect. And you just have to click on any type of the memos that you will see there, and this will pop up. You can see that in this screenshot, I had probably clicked on all memos because all of them are highlighted. I'm going to move back and forth between this screenshot and this, because I want to tell you exactly the advantages of using the memo manager and where these are. So one big advantage is that you have all these types of memos that you can create. In the memo manager, you can select which types of memos to hide and display. And you do this from here. You just click on the ones. Right now, all these are the ones displayed. If I were to click on one, it would just disappear, right? And you can sort and filter things using this memo manager. So right now they're all activated, and you can see they're all selected. And you can see that I have them all here, divided by origin. But if I wanted to, I could change this. So you can do it by origin, but you can also decide to organize them by person who wrote them, by last time that they were written, by type of memo, by type of just the memo image. So you can arrange all of that. You can text search within memos, which is a great feature. You just click on search in memos, and you can look for a specific word and then track it. So when am I using theory in these memos? You can search it in the memos, and then the program pulls them up here. And of course, within the memo manager, you can change the memos. You can add things. You can write new thoughts that came up once you see them all together, right? And then the last two things is that you can arrange memos in sets. So this is as simple as creating a set. Right now, I don't have any created, but if I right-click and I say new set, I can create a set. It's like, memos that mention theory. And then all I have to do is find them, and then dragging and dropping them right here. I can't tell you how helpful it is for theory building, and when you've been coding and taking notes forever and you don't know where your thoughts are going, that is amazing. And last thing that I use a lot for pedagogical purposes is that you can export the memos. So you click here, and the program exports all your memos or the selected memos that you want into a Word document or a PDF file. And I ask my students to do that, and that's amazing because then they do and they submit their work. All right. I think we're at 11:55, which is exactly where I want it to be. So I'm going to conclude for now, thanking you all for coming to this Spotlight session.